Hélène was only a month old when her family came under attack. Another generation, new lives shaped by an old conflict. The helpless are being raised by those who say they are powerless in this part of the West Bank. Marhaba, kif halak? Nice, thank you. Nice to meet you. Attacks like the one on Ibrahim's home are growing. They call it price tagging, when Israeli settlers extract a price from Palestinians by vandalizing their property.
When the settlers first arrived, they threw stones and then they burned the hill and destroyed the car. As you can see, all the glass is broken. I said to myself, I have my daughter and wife with me, so I locked the doors because I didn't want them to come inside my house and burn it.
Ibrahim had the CCTV put up after other attacks in the village. The boys came from the direction of the nearby settlement, he says. First they slashed the tyres, then stones are thrown. They try to take out the security camera. The Israeli police say they are searching for the suspects, but so far they found no one, a common outcome in these kinds of cases. Nearby lives Mohammed. We ask her about the settlers. She wants to know if we're Arabs or Jews. I'm from England, I try to tell her. But she moves on. People in this village claim only God will protect them. You're very close here at the edge of the village to the settlements. I mean, how do you feel?
Fear and anxiety. We are always afraid. The other day we all left the house and they tried to break into it. We don't feel safe. They also tried once to steal my sheep. I started screaming and people from the village came to help me. The army started shooting tear gas at us instead of protecting us. They came to protect the settlers.
These villagers grew up under military occupation. Now their children see the Israeli watchtowers too. Reported hate crimes against Palestinians doubled to nearly 300 last year, says the UN. Villagers must ultimately turn to the Israeli army for protection, with all the complexity that entails. A military drawn from one people among two hostile populations. Young men in the village stay up at night on watch, I'm told. Do people throw stones?
Currently, the only way to defend ourselves is to face them with rocks and sticks. That's the maximum we can do. That's if we confront them.
I think the main thing is that this is not just about isolated incidents. When you come here and you speak to people, you're really struck by how this is a way of life, a low-level conflict. People feel intimidated, under threat. And at the end of that, really, you have two sides, both seeking control of the same land. The village looks out onto several settlements. And they're growing.
It's like a ghetto. If you put yourself inside a box.
Rivka took me to see the settlement outpost her family built. Like most Israelis, she rejects the view of international law that sees the settlements as illegal. She is among the most ideological supporters. But an anti-occupation group recently petitioned the Israeli courts and her home was demolished. This is where you're sleeping? She stayed on the same site, though, in a tent.
Here the kids' bed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And how many children do you have?
9.
9.
We feel like it's I'm telling the kids also that they have the right to be a living history of the Jewish nation.
They talk of a constant threat. Late last year, there was a surge of violence in the West Bank. In a matter of months, 5 Israelis were killed by Palestinians, and alleged attacks by settlers saw at least 2 Palestinians die. Rivka's husband, Moshe, told me his connection to the land was absolute. And what do you think when Palestinians say, well, we feel under threat, that our land is being taken away, and that they feel they don't have protection?
The army fight with their army. It's not a really army, but it's terror organization. And if they put civilians in the front, you understand that Israel needs to protect itself.
You keep the pistol with you?
He says he carries a gun for protection.
It's regular, it's Glock.
Right, a Glock.
Yeah.
His sister and brother-in-law were killed by a Palestinian gunman 19 years ago. We see the watchtower again.
They guard 24 hours.
They guard 24 hours?
Yeah.
So this is like an armed position. Do you have much contact with them?
Yeah, they visit us in Shabbat.
He tells me the soldiers often come in for dinner on the Sabbath.
It's an Arab village.
On the next hill, Ibrahim's village. I mentioned the recent attack on his home.
And what do you think when people do that?
The price tag that you see is in the ratio of 1 to hundreds of Palestinian attacks. When we have people being attacked in cars, stones are thrown at them, they come to the community and burn things, just like they do all over the country. They burn fields and farmland that people depend on. Dozens of acts like these and only one incident as a reaction.
Settler violence reinforces the goals of the state, say campaign groups, to take as much land as possible. Israel routinely says it investigates these cases, but conviction rates are extremely low.
They have family there?
Across the hill, while the settlement movement is arguably enjoying more support than ever, its children too face a future of deep division.